I bring up with my patients is that, we could be organized individuals, but everything does not always go as planned. So we must understand that, like truly understand that everything does not go as planned. But because everything doesn't go as planned, we need to be people who learn to be solution focused. That even if I don't have the solution right in front of me, to be people who are hopeful for a plan. And that plan is going to look different from person to person. Again, because there aren't going to be the same resources accessible to each individual. So it's utilizing what you have. So thinking about, let's say I'm kind of a visual person, so I would draw a circle and say, what are those things that are within your control? Within this circle, those are those things that are within your control. And then we talk about what are those things that are outside of your control. And let's be honest, because sometimes we also want to control the things that are outside of our control. And that's when sometimes the anxiety, the worry, the frustration comes in, because we're trying to control these things that we just don't have at our, reach. So when people would come in talking about, oh my God, I wish this is over. I wish this is over. Oh, these people, they need to hurry up and come up with a vaccine and all this stuff. I would say, I've learned to know that, scientists are working really hard. I can't imagine the stress that they're under. This is a worldwide problem. So I was gonna say, I'm gonna let the scientists do their thing, and I'm gonna sit back and follow the rules that are suggested. I'm gonna wear my mask, I'm gonna wash my hands, and keep at a distance as best as possible. Those are sometimes the only things that we can do. And then when I was talking earlier about self-care, see how you can, bring down some of those emotions by engaging in those things that previously brought you that joy, that comfort. It turns a little bit sour or tricky when there is domestic violence. So we try to encourage people to utilize the specific hotlines that are accessible. Like there's a national domestic violence hotline, and it's done in a way where the survivor of it or the victim of it is not going to be put in a situation where they're going to get hurt by calling that line, because they have volunteers who know what words to say that will help them out. So that's when I say there's not a cookie cutter order of things that we are to do, because everyone's life is different. And sometimes how they say, how if you have a glass of water, are you looking at it half full or half empty? So it's all those corny little scenarios that are real though. And we can apply them to our lives. So are you going to wallow in distress, or are you going to try to do something to help yourself? Even if that something is just saying, I don't have the solution, but I'm hopeful that by me following the rules that so far have been given to us, that's going to keep me safe as best as possible. Also thinking about different things that maybe, or quotes that could be of motivation. I love going on Pinterest. That I do have. And I'll find motivational quotes. And like I said before, I connect with my faith. So I find different verses that'll motivate me to keep on going. And those things I also share in session, because believe it or not, people are waiting for that specific word of hope. And it's not like this corny little thing to say, oh, everything's going to get better. No, because it's guaranteed that we're going to have problems of all sorts, whether we have a pandemic or not. That is guaranteed. But what's not guaranteed is how we're going to respond to those things. So equipping ourselves with whatever it is that works, like I said before, as long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting somebody else, that's perfectly fine. Move forward with what works for you. You know, you can do a simple Google search, coping skills. You'll find a whole bunch of stuff if you're truly feeling stuck, you know. And so that's another way to take advantage of technology and using it for your own good. You know, listening to music that's going to lift you up, because even that music is so powerful. I'll have people come into session and they'll let me know, oh yes, my coping skill is music. But when you start asking, what exactly is it that you're listening to? Oh, when I'm depressed, I listen to sad songs because, I connect with those sad songs, and they just know exactly what, I'm going through. And I get it. I was like, yeah, it's nice to feel connected, that somebody, has walked in your shoes. But then, do you feel better after listening to that sad song? And the typical answer is no. Some people may say yes, because it was like I released what I had to, but then it kind of comes again. So I try to encourage people to look at the lyrics, and usually when that happens, it's like, oof, mine is blown. Oh wow! I mean, there are some songs that straight up are about suicide, and it leads people to that happening. And it's just crazy how those things are even legal, to have accessible to especially young people who are, deciding to move forward with stuff like that. So when it comes to coping skills, there's not that one thing that we can do. But what we do notice is that many things start with a thought. And if you allow that thought to sit there, and especially if it's a negative thought, and you don't learn to reframe that thought, or it doesn't mean that, oh yes, think positive, think positive. If you think positive, it's, everything's going to get better. Not necessarily, but at least you're trying to do something that is the opposite of that negative thought, and it's about replacing the thought, but also having an accompanied action step to go with it, that you could be intentional and then consistent with.